Hi there, I'm Alex Collins, and in this short video made for the Naturewatch Foundation, I'm going to be talking to you about wildlife crime, particularly badger baiting. So let's get right into it. So what is a wildlife crime? Well, wildlife crime is a big and important problem. It involves things like poaching, killing, or disturbing protected species, or even damaging the places where they breed and rest. It can also include the illegal trade of endangered species. Wildlife crime not only drives threatened species even closer to extinction, but it can also cause these animals an extreme level of harm or distress, which is of course always unnecessary. You would have thought that behaviours like this had gone extinct a few hundred years ago even, but these activities are still prevalent today. So why do people even commit wildlife crime? Well, there seem to be three main motives: sadistic motives, financial motives, and obsessive motives. So what do I mean by sadistic motives? Well, unfortunately, some people enjoy inflicting pain on animals and frightening them. There are also large financial incentives involved because of large illegal bets that are made and the sale of the animals used in these activities. Despite the financial gain, these activities are very unethical and they come with an extremely high risk, as I'll mention soon. Before we get into the activity of badger baiting itself, perhaps we should look a little bit more closely at what a badger is. Badgers fit into a group called mustelids that also include stoats, weasels, wolverines, pine martens, and so on. They are the largest mustelids that we have here in the UK. Badgers may be large, but they're harmless to humans. In fact, they would most often just rather get on with their own business. They're what's known as opportunistic omnivores, which means they'll eat pretty much anything. Earthworms are, however, the main food source within their diets. A fun fact is that they love to eat peanuts. So where do badgers live? Well, badgers live in what's called a sett, which is basically an underground den. These can be huge. They can contain up to 50 entrances and go back for almost 100 metres. Setts are protected because of the importance that badgers play in ecology within their ecosystems. Badgers live in groups called clans that can consist of between 4 and 8 members. A quick fact: because of their protection, damage to a badger sett could result in a fine of up to £5,000. So these badger families, or clans as I called them earlier, can be very territorial. But how do they mark these territories? Well, they use what's called latrines. Latrines are small holes that the badgers dig in the ground and they then defecate or poo within them. This poo obviously smells quite strongly, and so that scent acts as a warning to other badgers to stay away. These latrines form a sort of territorial scent boundary around the territory of each badger family, and they can commonly be found on the edge of fields, hedgerows, or fences. So how are badgers so well adapted to the lives that they live? Well, firstly, they have really big, strong claws used for digging and foraging. As I said, they often eat earthworms, so they need to dig them up from underground. They also have an extremely strong sense of smell. If you're ever looking for a badger, they'll probably smell you before they can even see you. Actually, if you've been near a badger sett, they can smell you after that for up to 24 hours. Badgers have a black and white coloration most of the time, as I'll get onto later, and this black and white coloration is thought to be an evolutionary adaptation to act as a warning to other predators. These predators would have been lynx, bears and wolves. Of course, these aren't around in the UK anymore, but they did used to be. You can, however, interestingly, get other colours of badgers. As I said, the most common colour is black and white. That's called a melanistic badger. You can then get pure white badgers, which are called albino badgers, or even ginger badgers. These are called erysitic badgers, and I would absolutely love to see one. Question: why do badgers' eyes light up when you shine a light on them? Answer: they have a special membrane behind their retina called a tapetum lucidum, which reflects light and helps them to see in the dark. Cats and dogs also have these. I'm going to show you a short clip now of campaigner Ray Puttock talking more about how you can identify whether a sett is active or not. This is extremely important if you're trying to prosecute badger baiters. If the sett can't be proven to be active, then they can't be prosecuted.
I don't know if you can see that sort of polish up the face.
Yeah,
That's
smoother up that edge.
That's the badger coming under there, and they literally rub their tummies almost as they go up,
Right.
and they will polish a track of the way they're going. But there's too much debris into it, which you will get during the windy weather we've had. You will get leaves, and you also get some of the spoil.
And they would clear that out normally.
They would clear that out.
Right.
You can see they have done it. You can see it because you can see that's the spoil there that's been dug out of this sett to keep it the entrance clear. But what we do have, and it's a luxury to find. I don't know if you can see that. Look at the black.
Yeah.
That's a badger hair. So you can see it's white from there to there. Then it goes black, and then it's white on the tip.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that absolutely proves that a badger has been here.
Right.
So to see that next to this entrance, particularly because one of the challenges with the weakness in wildlife crime law is proving that this is an active sett. Because if it's not an active sett, you won't succeed in a prosecution.
Gotcha. And that does it categorically.
As close as categorically as you can do it.
And that's certainly better than the other options, which is to say it's being used.
Other than if I came along and surveyed this sett because I thought there'd been illegal activity on the sett, finding that would make me put a wildlife cam up on there. Right. So that is as good as it gets to proving that there's badgers in this area. Because remember, this is a 14, 15 hole sett. Say, I don't know, a tenth of it's currently being used, 20% of it's being used. You will get foxes use them as earths. Right. You often get, even more often get rabbits. You get rats in them. So the fact that you're seeing signs of activity doesn't necessarily mean a badger. But the reality is, you can see, you'll get prints, you'll get latrines, you'll get the... Right. Only a badger will put the polished track out.
Right.
Badgers are widely protected by law, and they have been for some time. In fact, here's a list of just some of the laws that protect badgers in the UK. So what actually is badger baiting? I haven't heard of it, so it can't happen a lot, right? Wrong, actually. Badger baiting is still prevalent within the UK. It's a cruel blood sport that involves badgers being dragged or dug out of their setts and made to fight dogs, often to the death. And if not to the death, the badgers are shot. The dogs also undergo a lot of harm, and in general, there is just a disrespect for the animals involved. This sport is cruel and barbaric, and it's actually been illegal since 1835. But as I've said so many times already, it still goes on in the UK. Badger baiters send the dogs down the sett with radio collars on so that they can track where they are within the sett. However, often the dogs don't make it out of the sett, or they can come back with horrific injuries as a result of a fight with a badger. When dogs get these injuries, they aren't taken to the vets because the badger baiters would get in trouble, as the vet would identify what the dogs have been involved in. These dogs are also kept in horrific conditions, in cages in the badger baiters' houses, or sometimes in allotments, so as not to arouse confusion or suspicion from the neighbours. So if you care about dogs, then you should also care about ending badger baiting. As well as using dogs, the baiters also dig down into the sett and grab the badger themselves. This is called crowning down. Often the dogs will be fitted with radio collars to locate the badger, and once they have found it, the baiters listen and use a tracking device to locate the dogs and the badger. They then dig down and grab both out. If and when a badger has been dragged out of its sett, it's often made to fight a dog, and sometimes it's even taken to a terrifying fight arena so that this fight can take place. The dogs and the badgers then fight often to the death, as I mentioned, and sometimes the badger baiters have even been known to hit the badgers with a spade to cause them even more harm. The dogs and the badgers end up with horrific injuries, never really ending up with proper treatment, stitched up without anaesthetic and then put back in their cages. Once the fight is nearly over, the badger is either finished off by the dog or finished off by the badger baiters with a spade, as I mentioned, or perhaps even with a gun. These dead badgers are then disposed by the side of the road to make it look like it's just a roadkill incident. The dogs involved in these fights can be bred and sold for large sums of money, and it doesn't matter about their treatment conditions. A truly horrible crime. Badgers are some of the most persecuted animals in the UK, and this isn't just through badger baiting, but also through general shooting, trapping, using snares, or even poison. For this reason, it's so important that you report any suspicious activity if you see it, and raise awareness to help protect these beautiful creatures. The Naturewatch Foundation want me to let you know that badger baiters are often involved in other crimes, such as drug use, abuse, burglary or theft. Now this isn't always the case, but apparently it is often the case, so it's super important to keep an eye out for any suspicious activity. An 18-month investigation by Cumbria Constabulary's Serious and Organised Crime Unit led to 8 men from the county being jailed for a total of nearly 40 years for ATM thefts. During the investigation, police then discovered material of the wildlife crime after seizing a phone from one of the gang who was being investigated. Graphic footage of badger baiting was recovered on the phone, and later 3 of the ATM gang received suspended jail sentences for the baiting. Another way to get involved in badger conservation in the UK is to join your local badger group. There are loads of local badger groups across the UK, and you can find yours on the Badger Trust website. Naturewatch Foundation also combats the illegal persecution of badgers by conducting bespoke cybercrime investigations on individuals who are named as being involved. You can request 5 of these Dig Out Badger Baiters leaflets from the Naturewatch Foundation website, so they too can report if they suspect someone of illegal badger crime. They have the contact number for Andrew Swinburne, the Naturewatch Foundation's Animal Crime Manager. Here's a quick message from Andy.
Hello, my name is Andy Swinburne, and I am the Animal Crime Manager with Naturewatch Foundation. I'm going to talk to you about our badger baiting campaign and how you can help to end the illegal persecution of badgers. Here at Naturewatch Foundation, we aim to bring an end to badger baiting, sett digging, illegal lamping, killing and other forms of cruelty towards badgers involving the use of dogs. So how can you help? Well, we run a bespoke cybercrime investigation team looking at the badger baiters. All you need to do is that if you know somebody who is or you suspect is involved in the illegal persecution of badgers, particularly badger baiting, then you can contact me in confidence on andrew@naturewatch.org, or you can telephone me with information on 073 92 185 373. Thank you very much.
One final thing that you can do is have a look at this book. This is called A Badger's Tale. It was written by Jeff Francis on behalf of the Naturewatch Foundation, and it is a fantastic short read. A Badger's Tale is a challenging story full of magic and healing that only the natural world can bring. Rejected by his mother and threatened by the human world that he has been cast into, Liam finds sanctuary in a clan of badgers. He discovers his purpose for living by caring for wild animals, until a gang of hunters turn his newfound world that he has grown to love upside down. Now, as mentioned, it is crucial that you report any suspicious activity to people like the police by calling 999 or 101, or the Naturewatch Foundation. Whichever group you report this information to, they will keep your details confidential, so don't worry, no one will find out. And then they'll get on with bringing the badgers to justice and investigating this activity a little bit more. Even though it's crucial that you report this activity, it's equally important that you don't engage with badger baiters if you see them. As we mentioned, these people can be dangerous criminals involved in other illegal activity, and so you definitely want to keep your distance. Here is Naturewatch Foundation's patron Dan Richardson talking about what you can do if you suspect someone of committing badger crime.
These sadistic acts of violence are happening all over the UK in the name of entertainment and at the expense of these little guys. Naturewatch Foundation wants to bring an end to badger baiting, sett digging, lamping, killing and all other forms of cruelty towards badgers. And you can help them do that by telling their wildlife crime advisor about anyone you suspect is involved in badger crime. If you have information about named individuals involved in badger crime, please contact their wildlife crime advisor Andy Swinburne on andrew@naturewatch.org. Thank you.
So there we are. I do hope that now you feel like you know a little bit more about what badger baiting is and what you can and should do if you think you see anything suspicious. This is an extremely important problem that has been going on for hundreds of years, and it will continue if we don't do anything about it. So it's thanks to groups like the Naturewatch Foundation that we know what to do. Now it's just a matter of acting on it. It's up to us. Thanks for watching.